a tiny flower bud worth its weight in gold. The Dutch killed thousands to keep it secret. This is the story of the spice that funded empires, started wars, and caused a genocide. On a chain of volcanic islands adrift in the eastern seas, a single tree held a secret that would send ripples across centuries. Cloves, small dried buds, grew nowhere else but on Ternate, Tidore, Bacan, Magellan, and Moti. In these humid forests, families tended groves passed down through generations. The trees rose from black volcanic soil, their branches heavy with buds harvested just before they opened, then dried in the tropical air. Here, the spice was more than a crop. It was woven into ritual and tribute, burned in village ceremonies, and offered to sultans as a measure of loyalty and power. Far beyond the islands, the clove scent drifted into the halls of the Han dynasty. In the 2nd century BCE, Chinese court records describe the arrival of bird's tongue scent, the name given to the rare bud by imperial scribes. Etiquette demanded that any official approaching the emperor hold a clove in his mouth, perfuming his breath for the ruler's approval. The act was more than a gesture of refinement. It was a signal. Only those with access to the rarest goods belonged in the presence of power. The clove became a token of status, a luxury so prized that its origin was obscured by rumor and myth. No map in the Han court marked the islands where cloves grew. The journey from the archipelago to China passed through hands that guarded the secret for profit and survival. On these islands, every harvest, every tribute, every ritual fire was a link in a chain that stretched from isolated volcanic slopes to the heart of the world's most powerful courts. Long before the West even knew the name of clove, its value was already shaping alliances and ambitions, setting the stage for a struggle that would one day turn deadly. Ships slipped through the monsoon swells, their hulls packed with secrets. Austronesian navigators, masters of the open ocean, ferried clove buds westward from the Maluku Islands, rarely speaking of the tree's true home. The spice changed hands in silent deals at distant ports, Sri Lanka, India, Arabia, each exchange adding another layer of mystery, another mouth sworn to silence. For nearly 15 centuries, Arab traders ruled these corridors. Their dhows threaded the Indian Ocean, docking at Calicut, Hormuz, and Aden, where cloves were taxed, repackaged, and sent north. No outsider was permitted beyond the ring of trusted intermediaries. The source remained a rumor. The price climbed ever higher. In the shadowed corners of medieval Europe, the clove's origin was a riddle. Only the wealthy could afford its warmth. In the 6th century, grave diggers in Alsace uncovered a golden box holding 2 dried buds, cloves placed among the treasures of a Frankish woman, proof that the spice had traveled thousands of miles, passing through invisible hands. To the people of these lands, cloves seemed almost supernatural. Writers spun tales of angelic harvesters and distant forbidden mountains. The truth was locked behind a chain of profit and silence. Arab control kept the world guessing. Their monopoly, enforced by taxes and secrecy, held firm for centuries. The price of cloves soared, stoking the hunger of European courts and merchants. Behind every fragrant bud lay a web of hidden deals, silent middlemen, and a map that pointed everywhere but the true source. The longing for a direct route grew, an obsession that would soon drive kings and captains to risk everything for a taste of the forbidden spice. In 1511, Portuguese ships anchored off the volcanic shores of Ternate and Tidore, their hulls heavy with cannon and ambition. The old monopoly of silence was broken by force and negotiation. Portuguese envoys pressed the sultans for exclusive access, offering alliances sealed by treaties and the promise of military support against rival islands. Fortresses rose quickly, stone walls bristling above the groves, cannons pointed at the sea and the land alike. These were not outposts of peaceful trade. They were footholds for empire, paid for with the promise of spices. Francisco Serrao, a Portuguese captain stranded by shipwreck, wrote letters home that read like dispatches from another world. He described a landscape thick with clove trees, villages where the air hung heavy with the scent of drying buds, and rulers who measured their power in baskets of spice. Serrao's words carried more than curiosity, they carried calculation. He reported that a single cargo of cloves could pay for an entire fleet, that the price in Lisbon rivaled the yearly income of a European town. The Portuguese king read these letters as a call to action. The stakes were written in gold and blood. The hunger for cloves soon reached beyond Lisbon. In 1519, Ferdinand Magellan set sail on a voyage around the globe, his ships financed by Spanish investors who saw the spice cargoes as collateral more valuable than silver. The ledgers from that expedition tell a story of risk and reward. The return cargo of cloves loaded in the Spice Islands was worth more than twice the cost of the entire fleet. Fortified alliances, secret letters, and the mathematics of greed, these were the foundations of the first European grip on the Maluku Islands. The ordinary bud had become the engine of empire. In 1602, a document signed in Amsterdam gave birth to something the world had never seen, a corporation with the powers of a state. The VOC, the Dutch East India Company, was not just a trading house. Its charter spelled out the right to wage war, negotiate treaties, build fortresses, and even execute those who defied its will. The governors who met behind closed doors in the Netherlands wielded authority that rivaled kings. Their signatures on a piece of parchment became a license for conquest, cloaked in the language of commerce. The company's purpose was simple: monopoly. The VOC's directors saw the clove not as a crop, but as a lever to move empires. The charter's clauses granted them exclusive control over the trade of cloves, nutmeg, and mace in the East Indies. To enforce this, they built a fleet of warships, raised private armies, and established fortified outposts across the islands. The company could mint its own coins and dictate prices at the barrel of a musket. Profit was the only law. In the first decades of the 17th century, company ledgers recorded a figure that bordered on the fantastical: a single shipment of cloves, bought on the humid slopes of Ternate for a handful of guilders, sold in Amsterdam for a price 3,000 times higher. A picul, 5 kilograms, cost the VOC just 2 guilders in the Moluccas. In the warehouses of Amsterdam, the same picul fetched 6,000 guilders. The profit margins were staggering, enough to fund armies, bribe kings, and erase the line between merchant and sovereign. On paper, it was a marvel of legal engineering. In practice, it was a blueprint for violence. Monopoly demanded more than contracts. It required the elimination of every rival, the silencing of every islander who refused to bend. The VOC's charter did not just enable trade, it set the stage for a campaign of terror, soon to be unleashed on the people and forests of the Banda Islands. In 1621, Jan Pieterszoon Cohen gave the order that would erase a people from their own islands. Dutch East India Company soldiers landed on Banda. Their instructions were clear: no mercy for those who resisted the company's price. Villages burned. Families who had tended clove groves for generations were hunted down, their homes reduced to ash. Company logs record the aftermath with chilling precision. Out of an estimated 15,000 Bandanese, barely 1,000 survived. The rest were killed, starved, or shipped away as slaves to distant plantations. The land was emptied so the company could replant it with imported labor. Every tree now counted, every bud controlled. But the violence did not end with people. The VOC unleashed the Hongitochten, extirpation expeditions, across the archipelago. Troops moved from island to island, hacking down wild clove trees, torching forests, leaving only those groves marked as company property. Anyone caught tending an unauthorized tree faced death or enslavement. In the company's ledgers, the cost of monopoly was measured in profits. On the ground, it was counted in lives lost and forests destroyed. The world's rarest spice had become the excuse for one of history's earliest corporate-sponsored genocides. In the shadows of the Dutch monopoly, a new figure moved quietly: Poivre, a French botanist with a taste for risk. In 1769, Poivre orchestrated a theft that would unravel 2 centuries of blood-soaked control. Disguised as ordinary cargo, living clove seedlings left Ambon's guarded shores, hidden in barrels of sugar and water casks aboard French ships bound for Mauritius. Letters from Poivre to colonial officials describe how each seedling was counted, concealed, and spirited away under threat of death if caught. Within a year, the first clove buds ripened in the botanical gardens of Île-de-France. Soon, saplings reached Reunion, Zanzibar, Madagascar, and Ceylon, each new grove a nail in the coffin of the Dutch trade. The company's price collapsed. The spice that once fueled genocide now grew in soils far from its native islands, its secret scattered across continents. Today, cloves fill markets from Africa to South Asia, their scent so common it barely registers. The violence, the secrecy, the lives lost for a monopoly were all erased by a handful of smuggled seedlings. The world's most coveted bud became a kitchen afterthought, its dark past hidden in plain sight. Today, cloves sit in kitchen cupboards everywhere, stripped of secrecy, their bitter legacy rarely named. But the scars of empire linger in every trade network built on blood. Greed once priced a flower above human life. And that lesson is never just history. It shadows every commodity we touch,